Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Little Bird, issue number 2. Nice. Nice. Something very cool that happened in this issue. I'm not talking about the comic book itself as far as the story. No. Something... I'll explain it. It might not seem like a lot, but to me it was a hell of a lot. So this is the Fight for Elder's Hope, Chapter 2 of Little Bird. Darcy Van Polgeest is the writer and Ian Bertram is the artist. These two people are also the creators of this character, these characters in this comic. Matt Hollingsworth is on colors. Aditya Bidikar is on letters, and Ben Didier did the design. Little Bird was written on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people, right up here in beautiful Canada. And this is an Image Comics publication. So we get a little bit of an explanation, or a show. First off, just F it. Little Bird comes back, all right? Like, she comes back from the dead. She rises from the dead. Now, consider the fact that she's fighting against the Christians. That's kind of a big deal. And mind you, these aren't exactly the modern-day Christians who we know. These are just extremist, psychopathic, body-morphing type, Christian people. They call themselves Christian, all right? Anyhow, so, man, this character, Little Bird, rises from the dead, but she was kept alive in some tank someplace. So it's like they were trying to keep her conscience. Once her conscience was set free, it was able to go back to her body, which was buried. Problem is, it's in the middle of a fight, and she has to start running again, gets shot up again, possibly dies again. She has no freaking idea of what's going on, but that's okay. We don't either. But here's the cool thing that happens in this comic book. We're told that we're not going to get the explanation now, but we will get the explanation later, how she comes back from the dead. Most comic books don't do that. Most comic books in general, they'll just be like, oh, you don't know what's going on? Well, wait, I don't know what to tell you. The secret is that they have to wait, and we'll explain it later. The trick is we don't always trust people. The trick is we just want to know what's going on, so we feel as though the story is, we're keeping up with things and we're not missing things, all right? The fact is the character doesn't know what's going on. Somebody else does, but they're not explaining yet. And they explain that they're not explaining yet. So we, who our feet are in the shoes right now of Little Bird, we are there with her, where she's saying, how am I back from the dead? Because we're all saying, how's she back from the dead? So the guy that she's with says, oh, yeah. I can explain it. I just don't have time to explain it now. We're like, okay, so we're going to get an explanation. Okay, cool. It seems like such a little thing, doesn't it? And yet, it's kind of huge because most other comics won't do that. So you'll get the explanation when we give it to you and just deal with it. No, thank you. I prefer this method. So we get more on the... we get more on the world, all right? The world that we're in currently and what's going on, the Tri-Nations thing. We also get a pope who likes to grab people by the balls when he's pissed. And I'm talking literally, gotcha. Yeah, having a conversation about his testicles while he's screaming at him. Like, what the frick, dude? I saw this before. What was it? Carrie? No, Christine. I think it was Christine was the name of the movie. I think it was a Stephen King movie. The car came alive and started killing people. There's a scene earlier where he grabs him and he squeezes his nuts, and afterwards he calls him a pussy. It's like, dude, you could clearly tell he didn't have one of those. Anyway, so we do find Elder's Hope. It was part of the message that her mom gave to her, but it was encoded to indicate that the one place where you could think freely is here, in fact. All religions, in many regards, are very intrusive on people's lives. Sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's not. And that goes for every single religion. Every single religion's got pros and cons. It's got pluses and minuses. Every ancestral teaching, every culture, everything. It's got the intrusive parts that are good, the intrusive parts that are bad. It's got the parts where you have to choose to delve in deeper. It also depends on who's teaching. It is what it is. this society that they're in, when they have to have a secret hidey hole, a place like, New Zion in the Matrix movies, when you have to have a place that you designate as a place of free thinking, God, can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? No thinking on your own, no thought of your own. Everything that you know must be based on this book or this teaching or this culture or this philosophy, this something that is not actually you, that you can't tell the difference between you and said religion, culture, whatever. That is what I'm getting the most of out of this book. I'm kind of hoping that the book is going to be introspective also, that the main character will be introspective. The only way, in my opinion, this book could be any better is if, I'm hoping that they're eventually going to be able to overthrow this tri-nation thing and at least be able to be on their own. At least, more than just this Elder's City, Elder's Hope. More than just there, they can actually be free thinkers. But I'm hoping that it's also introspective in the sense of the lessons that are taught, because, like I said, that goes for everyone, everything, every culture, religion, whatever. So that's the only way that, in my opinion, this book can get any better, is if she starts turning that pointing finger inwards and realizes she's got to be free from all of it and be allowed to make her own decisions. I know there's going to be several people who are going to be like, well, that's kind of what the Native American cultures teach. I can mostly agree. Being part of, hereditarily through the Iroquois, yes, I can agree to a degree. But there's still things that are taught. There's still things that are taught outside of, how to count. Anyway, guys, this was a really good book. It was a really fantastic book. Just kind of hoping that it does also get more, make it more broad. Make it even more broader, I guess you'd say. All right, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.